Hi guys, Andra here, and we're going to be comparing cultures in two different European countries, Spain and Turkey today. First one we're going to talk about is Spain. Spain has a population of approximately 48.5 million people, with the vast majority of those people living in Spain practicing Roman Catholicism. About 74% of people living in Spain speak Spanish, and the other 26% speak other dialects such as Catalan, Galician, or Basque, which are all have their bases in the Romance language of Spanish, but these are different dialects depending on the region that they are originated in. The Spanish diet is a typical Mediterranean diet with lots of olive oil, fruits, vegetables, seafood, and of course wine in moderation. Some of the best olive oil in Spain comes from the region of Andalusia and Catalonia. Fruits and vegetables are grown all over the region, but some of the best agricultural regions are Navarre, Andalusia, Balearic Islands, and Valencia. Some of the common seafood found in Spain are anchovies, cod, pescadito frito, or fried fish, and seafood from Galicia. Some regional delicacies that they have in Spain is paella. So paella originated in Valencia. So this is a popular rice dish that's flavored with saffron and has chicken, sausage, mussels, clams, lobsters, abundance of seafood made in these specialized, really flat dishes. Also, the regions in the north of Spain are well known for their milk and dairy products. They do traditional desserts such as rice pudding and cuajada, which is a curd cheese type of dessert. Cheese complements and is accompanied a lot of dishes in Spain. One of the most familiar cheeses that you can probably pick up in any grocery store is Manchego, which is from Castilla-La Mancha region of Spain. So Spain has been under a national healthcare system since 1986, but the alternative to Western medicine is still alive in Spain. You can still see shops walking around major metropolitan cities that offer herbal remedies and non-traditional, non-pharmaceutical cures or reliefs to some common ailments. Women, when they're pregnant, are given the opportunity to birth at home with midwives if they so choose. That is something that is still widely done in Spain. And they also can see bone setters. So this is similar to chiropractic, obviously with not as much training, but more of the traditional bone setters are still seen in some of the more rural parts of Spain. So personal pride and individualism are highly valued in the Spanish culture. Flaunting superiority, intelligence, and ability is not appreciated. People strive to project affluence and social position. Personal appearance, image, and human relationships are very important to the Spanish people. And they tend to speak a lot with their hands. And they do not appreciate, it's considered a very rude insult to mock them or gesticulate with your hands mimicking them. If I had a Spanish family come into my chiropractic office, I would invite them in with a handshake, never a touch or a hug or a back slap because I don't know them well, and that's considered very offensive if you hug or touch or back slap a Spanish person without their permission or without them doing the same to you first. I would ensure that a translator is available if needed, and I would make sure that the translator understood that they were being addressed using the formal usted. Outside of the family, the formal usted is used in situations of social distance and inequality, and it is often used reciprocally. So I would call them by the formal usted, and they would refer to me as doctor by formal usted. It is a sign of respect for both parties to use the formal version of verbs instead of a mark of one's superiority. So until there is a conversation where they refer to me as a to form of the verb, it would always be in the formal usted, just showing a matter of respect with that person. And now we're going to switch gears and move over on to Turkey. So Turkey has a population of approximately 80 million people, the 20th most populated country in the world. a large majority of the Turkish people are Muslim, and then there's a fraction of a percent that are Christians and Jews as well. The official language of Turkey is Turkish, but Kurdish and other minority languages are also spoken. The Turkish diet has a couple main components that I wanted to highlight. The first being borek. It is a pastry made of many thin layers of dough interspersed with cheese, spinach, or ground meat. Also, one that we may be familiar with here in the US are kebabs, and this is meat roasted in pieces or slices on a skewer like a meatball on a grill. And these are traditionally, once they're cooked, served on a bed of rice or served with a flat naan or pita-like bread, kind of like a sandwich. So dolmas are also popular in the Turkish diet. They're dishes made of vegetables wrapped in leaves. These leaves could be cabbage leaves, grape leaves, anything like that you could fold into what we're familiar with, kind of like a burrito style. And inside is rice or bulgur pilaf, ground meat, and really fragrant spices. The Turkish people also eat a lot of eggplant. They roast it and serve it with rice. You can also see it in borek or in dolma as well. Approximately 73% of the population lives in an urban area, with the biggest cities being Istanbul and the capital of Ankara. So everybody in an urban setting has access to Western medicine, hospitals. That's very commonplace. But over a quarter of the population are still living in rural situations where they don't have access to hospitals or Western medicine or anything like that we take for granted living here in a big city like San Francisco. So they rely on folk medicine passed down from generation to generation, typically from a mother to a daughter. And they also use a lot of herbs and spices, make poultices, teas, incorporate herbs and spices into dishes that they eat for healing common ailments, and the like. So cultural etiquette in Turkey. Turks are extremely patriotic. They're very proud of their ancestors and the achievements that they've been able to do in modern society today. The family is the most important social unit. You will sometimes see grandparents living with families with younger children, really instilling that family values in the nuclear family. Rural life is still traditional, but in cities, women frequently work outside of the home. A few things that I wanted to highlight. Do not put your thumb between your first two fingers. This is the equivalent of raising your middle finger in the United States. And the OK sign is a hand signal that someone is a homosexual. So if you're talking with people from Turkey, going to visit Turkey, I would highly recommend not using those two things in order to make sure everybody gets along. So if I had a Turkish family come into my chiropractic office, I would handle them with a lot of cultural reverence. Due to Islam's guidelines surrounding male and female interactions, the likelihood of a Muslim man coming to me for chiropractic care is highly unlikely. A Muslim man is not permitted to touch a female that isn't related to him or his wife. So if I did have a situation with a Turkish family coming in, I would most likely only be adjusting the woman or the wife in my office. If and when her husband came in for the ROF, I would not extend my hand for a handshake because we're not permitted to touch since I am a non-Muslim. And I would also give the option to the woman to be seen in a private adjusting area if there were other males in the office getting adjusted and that made her uncomfortable. My care plan and how I would proceed with care would not be any different. I would adjust them the same, I would take care of them the same, but how I would approach them in the very beginning might be altered a little bit depending on if they're from Spain or from Turkey. So here is my work cited with everything. All works are cited within the text, and I hope you learned a little bit about Spain and Turkey today. Thanks.